football podcast called Living the Stream comes to you each week. Streaming recommendations during NFL season, it's not just tongue-in-cheek. Quarterback, defense, tight end recommendations based on opposition matchup. Here are your podcast hosts, JJ Zacharyson and Danny Carter, living the stream.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Living the Stream. I'm JJ Zacharyson, the late round quarterback, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Denny Carter. Denny, what's going on, buddy?
Is it Santa season?
Yeah, look, Santa, my impression of Santa and my thoughts about Santa is that he just throws in it's like part of his dialogue.
Yeah.
There's random hose in there.
Random hose. Now I'm completely off base. Kurt Russell played Santa in the Christmas Chronicles, which my daughter loves. And in the movie, he refuses to say ho ho ho. He says, I don't say that. That's a myth. That's a myth. And he makes many disparaging comments about the typical portrayal of Santa Claus as a fat man. He's not a woke Santa, is what I'll say. I mean, he's very disparaging about Santa being supposedly being a big jolly fat dude. It's not cool, Kurt.
You know what's interesting? So you know that I have a broken brain, and I remember I remember song. I kid you guys not. So in 5th grade, I was Santa Claus in our school chorus play. Okay, so we had like a choral group, right? And then we had a play, and then we had songs that were attached to that play, right? It was just like I wouldn't call it's not like a musical because it wasn't. It was what it was. You had like the risers behind everything that was going on. You know what I mean? And then you were acting in front. So I was Santa Claus in 5th grade, and I still remember lines to my 5th grade performance. I remember every song. Right.
You do?
Oh my! I remember randomly. I'll be in the kitchen and I'll be singing a song from my 4th grade chorus concert. Yeah.
Wow.
I told you my brain is really broken for that kind of stuff.
That's true. That's I was in a lot of those type of Christmas programs, and I don't remember any of it.
I remember every single one. And there was one that they did it to the Jingle Bells theme, kind of. So the idea of the show was that I was Santa Claus. No big deal. And it was the show I think was called This Is Your Life, Santa Claus. Okay. And it was a game show where I was in the crowd with the parents and stuff to start the show.
Really?
And then the host called me up to stage, and I had to act all surprised, like, oh my gosh, I'm the guest on the show, right? The host calls me up to the stage, and they're singing a song, and I'm walking around shaking everyone's hand as I'm walking up to the stage. And then the whole show is about Santa's life, and like there's like a little box where people step in and they introduce themselves, like they give you clues as to who the person is, and I'm like, I think that's Mrs. Claus, and then she and stuff like that. But there was a song that was to Jingle Bells, and it was Santa Claus, you are much too fat. I was sleeping peacefully, but now my bed is flat. And then it said, oh, Santa Claus, you guys can Google these lyrics. I guarantee you'll find the play. Santa Claus, how much do you weigh? I'm glad I'm not a reindeer that has to pull your sleigh.
Wow, this is shaming.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of fat shaming in this choral concert.
This is not cool. Look, yeah, I mean, Santa is rotund, and that's all right. You know, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: when you have reindeer that can freaking fly, all right, then they should be able to haul, a large-bodied man.
Yes. We got Tyler saying, I Googled these lyrics and now my work security is dragging me away, kicking and screaming in handcuffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually goes without saying. So, but we are sorry you lost your job, Tyler.
Yeah. Also, Denny, I watched that. Did you see that new movie, Carry On Netflix that's out with Jason Bateman as the villain?
No.
So it's kind of, it's in a similar vein as Die Hard from the perspective. I haven't seen Die Hard in a really long time, but it's the not about Christmas, but about Christmas kind of movie, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's just a TSA agent who has to try to get a bag to get through security for this killer, for this or for this villain, which
wait, it's called Carry On.
Yeah, Carry On. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Carrie hyphen on. Yes.
Okay.
And so, but Bateman, but you don't usually see Jason Bateman as like the villain. Usually it's
No.
like an Ozark. If anything, it'd be like an Ozark character where he kind of is like forced to be in that kind of role or whatever. But yeah, I've been looking at people commenting on it. My wife and I watched it. Amanda and I watched it on Saturday, and I've been looking at comments on it. They're like, "Oh, it was such a good, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life." Like,
I'm glad it's bad.
Horrifically bad. Like Bateman was actually pretty good, but it was just so over the top. And as long as if you can approach the movie from that perspective, and sometimes that's the way things work with movies, right? But if you can approach it from that perspective, it's probably okay. But it's just a way over the top. Nothing would ever happen in real life. There was some bad CGI at some point. Again, if you go into it knowing that it's going to be like that, that's one thing. I like the thrillers that you can actually place yourself in.
Okay.
That you know would be a real scenario, whereas this is just not that.
I would caution you, JJ, against making a judgment against a movie. I was reminded on Blue Sky today that all movies are equally good and bad. There is no difference between a good and a bad movie. So I just want to say you say it's bad, yet it's actually just as good as any other movie. We want to be clear about that.
I want people who have watched that though to at me, because it seems like because it's one of those like you open Netflix and it's just staring there. It's just sitting there staring at you, because they're trying to promote it for whatever reason. I mean, they probably spent a lot of money on it.
Right.
If Jason Bateman's in it, they probably spent a lot of money on it.
Right. And it's total slop, like everything else served up via streaming.
Yes.
Yeah. I had the gall to say that Deadpool and Wolverine was not a good movie.
Yeah. Are you're not into superhero stuff, right?
I'm not, but I can see the appeal in some of the superhero stuff. I mean, I'm not going to dismiss the entire genre.
Is Xavier into it at all?
Yeah. I mean, to an extent, I was just watching that movie. I was just sad. Like, this is like kids watch this and they think they're watching it. This is not a movie. Like this is just absolute like dreck. This is like bottom of the barrel nonsense. I hated it so much. I have visceral reaction. I've never been sadder for future generations than watching Deadpool. Deadpool, the worst character of all time. Ryan Reynolds, one of the worst actors ever.
We got a question from Neil Dutton this week that said probably one for JJ, which I don't know why he said probably one for JJ for this. But what's a movie you've watched that you were suddenly aware was not for you, but seemed to have captured the imagination of most other people in the audience? Right. I mean, like at this point, like I don't go to movies that often anymore because we don't need to. No. Right. I went and saw what is it? What's that robot movie that came out like this past year? It's a very simple title. I'm just blanking. It was a robot movie about like, did we talk about this on the show at all?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Avery and I went, she had a Friday off. Avery and I went and saw that movie, the robot movie. It's going to drive me absolutely nuts.
Somebody in the comments.
Yeah.
The woke robot.
the wild robot. It's actually the wild robot. It's very close to the woke robot. But no, it's a freaking movie about like a robot that goes to this deserted island, like it's washed up, it's in the future, and it essentially is a movie about like adoption, right? Like because it adopts a bird and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there as an adoptive parent, like losing my mind.
I bet it was so touching.
Just losing my freaking mind. Avery in the middle of it, she looks up at me, she's like, "Are you gonna cry? Like, are like in the middle of the movie?" I'm like, maybe, don't judge me. Like, you wait until you've experienced this feeling that I'm feeling right now.
I heard it's very emotional. Like,
oh my gosh, it was insane. Yeah.
And forget about, like, I'm just talking about for the average person. Forget about an adoptive parent.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
Literally any parent, you're gonna feel feelings watching that movie. But for me, it was like next level, just because it was like so the analogy and the metaphor and the was just so one-to-one. Like it was just that is it. Right? Like it's a movie about this robot essentially adopting a bird and watching the bird grow and go off on its own and become its own thing.
Oh, I think I have to see it. On NPR, they had a top 10 movie thing, and a lot of the people actually on the panel said that Wild Robot was their favorite movie of the year.
I mean, look, it's really, really good. I'm really mad that couldn't even remember the title, the word wild, but I knew there was, I knew there was something in there, but yeah, it was a really, really good movie. And I feel like I feel like most movies I go to, if I were to go to a movie these days, I'm going to walk away being like, that was a fine, like I don't remember going to a movie and being like, this is so horrific and everyone else is loving it right now.
There was a movie with Adam Driver, a space movie. It's called like 25 million or something like that. It came out last year. It was beyond awful. I left the theater.
You left the theater?
Yeah. No. What I mean is when I left the theater after the movie, I was actually like viscerally angry.
It was actually like, it was rough. But yeah, I mean, like I've seen plenty of bad stuff on, Netflix and stuff. Like we watched Carry On.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's some movie, and this actually might've been another, like, at least like close to a question that we got this week. Can I tell you something? And people are going to lose their mind when I say this. Okay. So I'm on my Peloton. I'm trying to ride a little bit more. I was kind of walking and running a little bit more earlier in the season. Now I've kind of switched to the bike more, and I've realized that I missed it a lot, and it's great. But I will do these entertainment rides on the Peloton where you can choose Netflix or choose like certain apps and you can watch shows. Netflix is the main one that they had. They had Max, but they, for some reason, had like a technical issue or something. They had to switch it. So I'm watching shows on Netflix, and I decided the last month or so, I watched the last, 8 or so 10 rides that I did. I watched the show You. You know the show You? Have you heard about the show You? Where
No, I remember on a cable news segment, someone was trying to explain it, and they kept saying, I watched You.
Yeah. Wasn't that a bit for like a Fox News thing that happened? And they were like, she was getting tilted off the plane. Was it Laurel Ingraham or something?
It was, but it wasn't a bit. It was.
Oh yeah,
no.
I know. Yeah. Was she had Laura Ingraham had no idea what was going on. But Penn Badgley's in it, right? Handsome fellow. And it's just about like a stalker who turns murderer, kind of gets like, it's gotten to the point where it's just really, really over the top and stuff like that. But that's an easy watch while you're riding the Peloton. Okay. Like it's just kind of gets you going. Like it's a thriller. You're kind of excited. So I'm trying to find another show now on Netflix. And the one that pops up all the time that I haven't watched, it's one of like a classic, is Peaky Blinders. Have you watched it?
I have.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's because of the setting I'm in, being on the bike while watching that. I can't get through the first episode.
Whoa.
I can't get through it. And I don't know if it's just like, this isn't my kind of show. I don't know. And people are going to yell at me.
That's hot.
I know.
But, I respect it.
I just can't get through the first episode. I'm watching it and I'm like, I even have subtitles on because, I'm riding. So it's not the easiest to totally understand.
Also, they're British. They're the most British dudes ever. You can't understand anything those guys are saying.
Right. It's like Game of Thrones and stuff. But even like Game of Thrones, those kinds of like fantasy / not in the last 20 to 30 years settings, or even in the future a little bit, I have trouble with them. I do like any kind of movie that's not kind of current in terms of timeline. I don't know. Maybe there's something deep here that I'm not realizing.
Yeah.
But I struggle with them. I truly do. Even Game of Thrones. I loved Game of Thrones at the end of the day, but it took me a long time to really appreciate it and get into it.
I mean, obviously Game of Thrones worst final seasons of all time, but Peaky Blinders, actually, I did enjoy it. I don't see it as like an all-time show. I mean, it's a cool show. There's lots of cool scenes, lots of walking in slow motion in industrial parts of the UK in the the early 1900s. No. It's shortly after World War I. Right. And lots of smoking, lots of drinking, very cool stuff. The story's okay too.
Did you enjoy the first episode? Like right away you were hooked?
I don't remember. Remember the first episode, honestly. I mean, I will say, like, sometimes if you get through the first episode of that you're not enjoying, it can work out. I actually stopped watching Twin Peaks halfway through the first episode because I hated the pilot so much.
Interesting.
I came back to it, obviously.
Yeah. There's also some shows that I watch that I don't mind, but people are obsessed with Mad Men, like obsessed, and
I tried that.
it was a good show, and I appreciated but it got boring at times. Like it's like you have to like there are some shows that really hook you, and you like really appreciate the art of the show, and you appreciate like the writing of the show. That's just not that like I don't know the Peaky Blinders type, or even like the Game of Thrones to some degree. Like, I don't think I would get into another Game of Thrones. Like, I'm not going to watch the sequel or I guess it's the prequel.
No, I'm not doing all that. Are you kidding me? No.
It's just too much for me at this point. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and I just want something simple.
Real quick, I know we have to move on here, but Severance. I'm watching Severance on.
I want to get into that. Yeah.
On Apple Plus. I had to buy Apple Plus. I had to buy it for a month so we could watch freaking Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, so you just naturally just moved to Severance.
Yeah, and and I went to and Severance is such a well-made show.
Yeah, like, I want to get into it.
Even if you're not super into the plot,
yeah,
the way that it's shot is just tremendous. It actually is kind of infuriating because it's like I'm sure like nobody watches that show. Like nobody's watching like
I
stuff
thought it was
Apple
huge.
Plus.
I thought Severance was big.
I'm just saying like audience wise, like that show deserves.
Oh, you mean compared to like 15, 20 years ago when like shows were everything.
Right. So if you put Severance on HBO in 2005, it's all anyone's talking about.
Right. It's like literally The Sopranos.
And now it's just this thing that kind of goes like fades into the popular culture and then fades out. It's sad.
I've heard that Apple Plus had like I think we might have it and we just haven't used it in a while because we were watching Ted Lasso I haven't finished Ted Lasso yet either. Like Ted Lasso was okay. Like it's an easy watch, but like I think it's not as funny as I think other people have kind of.
I didn't know it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, right. Like I like some of the like I know it's more feel good and stuff, and I like feel good, but like I'll tell you a show that I adore. Okay, I know that but this is just to give you an idea of the kind of show, like the writing and the style. It's a Judd Apatow one. It's called Love on Netflix. It was like 3 seasons long. It's just a story about like life, right? Like just an easy, like a Paul Ruddy type, what you would see in a Paul Rudd movie, right? Okay. It's a Judd Apatow show. So
right.
So it's that way. Sense. That's my vibe. That's my style for like easy watching. And then, I'll get into like the show of, just being over the top and just wild and crazy. But man, I maybe someone can convince me about Peaky Blinders and maybe that'll be the Peloton show, but I just don't know if that's my thing.
I love what's the main actor's name? Anyway, I love that guy. That guy's great.
Oh, people are gonna lose their mind right now.
Oppenheimer.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, yes. As I call him in my head, Cillian Murphy. I have no idea how to say it.
Yeah, Cillian. Is it Cillian?
I've been a fan of his for a very long time.
No, he's good.
Since the movie Red Eye.
Look at you. You're an OG Murphy fan. Okay. Let's look at what happened last week. It was very hit or miss at quarterback. We had Aaron Rodgers at 30 points. We had Jameis, who I downgraded pretty heavily in my rankings and stuff because of the weather situation there. Minus 0.4 for Jameis. And now he's no longer, I mean, rest in peace, Jameis.
It's over.
It's over, which sucks for fantasy, but it makes it they're like, isn't their EPA per play like one of the worst, or if not the worst in the league since he became starter?
Yeah, but come on, man, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, no coach cares about EPA per play, and secondly, this is just Kevin Stefanski just being mad.
Yeah, I mean, but like, here's the thing: what's the true benefit of using Jameis?
You can better evaluate the guys around him. You can't evaluate anybody.
Maybe, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's the fair argument to make.
Like Jerry Jeudy was showing that he can be a wide receiver 1. He can't show that now.
The one thing I'll say about, I think Antonio Pierce is a pretty bad head coach, but the one thing I'll say is he's trying to win all the time.
He is.
Like I give the bad teams with those kinds of coaches credit because they're at least constantly trying to do well and win. Hopefully Aiden O'Connell plays this week too, because Desmond Ridder is a train wreck of a player.
Wow.
That was, and then they finally let it loose a little bit whenever they're in prevent defense at the end of the game, and Jacoby Myers, is able to do something. But man, that was crazy. How
we need AOC. AOC is Joe Montana compared to Ridder.
Yes. I never thought that I was going to say that Aiden O'Connell would like Jacoby Myers is a legit wide receiver 2 in fantasy with Aiden O'Connell.
Right.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bryce Young scored 12, Cooper Rush 19.1. Again, hit or miss with those guys. Will Levis had minus 4.4 as a deep play for us last week. I actually faced him in a Superflex Dynasty League against Liz Loza and got the W because Will Levis. So sorry, Liz, that I got that W from you.
Yeah, Will Levis somehow negative fantasy points against one of the worst defenses in recent NFL history.
Yeah. One of my biggest misses of the year was buying into the Tennessee offense, for sure. I mean, I bought into Pollard and Spears, but the rest has just been horrific.
It is like that did not work out for my best ball teams, I will say.
Yes. One of my learnings this year. I'm actually a little sneak preview into what's going on for me during the offseason. One of my big projects that I want to work on for my draft guys. So first I got to do prospecting work and stuff, but I really want to solve team level stuff. Like I want to be better at the team level stuff as opposed to, because I think I know that's how I build projections and stuff is from the team level first. But if you can find better trends with which teams could generally break out, I think that's huge in terms of like a good first step. And yeah, I think it was just like the dart throwing of Tennessee. And then whenever you do that, you kind of just like talk yourself into stuff that you shouldn't be talking yourself into.
For some reason, my Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins stacks didn't work this year.
Yeah. For some reason, I got 2 BBM semifinal teams, folks, after a below average advance rate. Now I'm back where I should be from an expectation standpoint, which is nice.
All right.
Tight end, Zach Ertz, 4.5, Stone Smart, 8, Noah Gray, 10.1, Noah Fant, 4.5, Juwan Johnson, 3.2, kind of a bad week for tight end. Defense, Arizona 5, Washington 6, Atlanta 16, because Desmond Ridder is bad. All right, Denny, we don't have a ton of ton of streamers this week, but let's kick things off. You want to start at quarterback?
I do. I have a Cooper G. Rush the 5th playing against the Bucks. Multiple touchdowns in 3 of his past 4 games for Cooper Rush. Had no idea that was happening until I looked it up. 22-point implied total for Dallas, which is, reasonably good. 48.5-point total for that Bucks Cowboys game. So that's also not terrible. The Bucks are a top 5 pass funnel and have been for the entire season, and they allow a top 10 completion rate over expected. So you could probably do worse than Cooper Rush.
I got Aaron Rodgers, who I think is probably the better play between the two, just given how he's been playing recently. He has 2 straight good outings. Jacksonville, obviously an easy opponent, but he rushed for like 40 yards against Jacksonville last week, which was kind of wild.
Wow.
The Jets have a 21.5-point implied team total. The Rams are the 11th best opponent by adjusted points allowed. The Rams are good at pressuring the quarterback. The Jets are one of the best teams at avoiding pressure at the quarterback position. Part of that is just that that's the way that Rodgers plays. It's the quarterback style, but I also think they can mitigate what the Rams do defensively a little bit. So, I think it's like an average situation across the board. Like he's playing well enough, obviously Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson are doing well, especially Devontae. And it's a spot where it could be a little bit back and forth,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I think the game environment for Tampa Bay and Dallas is fun too. I like both these quarterbacks within the context of them being streamers in week 16. But yeah, I think I'd probably lean Rodgers over Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Rams Jets, I think, could have a lot of points there. It is funny that now that the Jets season is over, it's just Rodgers and Adams doing the Kobe Shaq thing.
Yeah.
All right, on to tight ends.
Yeah, let's do it. I got 2, so I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's go with Brenton Strange. A strange first name. Just be Brent. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I know. Come on, man.
What was this? Was this ON at the end? Denian Carter. He's coming off a game. He basically played Evan Ingram's role last week. Low ADOT. He had like a 4.3 ADOT, 84% route share. It's super solid. 28% target share. Also very solid. My fear with Strange, though, and maybe I'd love to hear your take if you just agree or disagree, but my fear here is that they had more of a back and forth in that game against the Jets. They were playing from behind a little bit, or there was at least that like neutral game script environment. We're going to throw the ball, and the Jets are giving it to us a little bit. I don't know if we're going to have a back and forth nature to a game between the Raiders and the Jags. And that scares me a little bit with Strange. And then You see that Jacksonville only has a 19-point implied team total, but I will, Vegas is a top 7 opponent for tight ends by adjusted points allowed. And the other thing too, I looked at my little cheat sheet that I put together every week, or that my spreadsheets just put together. And one of the things I should call out is that this has a high pace score, I believe. I think both of these teams run relatively fast. Now, part of that is probably game script related, but because I'm not always, I don't think I adjust that for game script, but that's at least maybe could see a little bit more plays.
Yeah, I mean, you got a really good environment between Jacksonville and the Jets last week. 66% drop back rate for the Jags. That was 7% over expected. 58 total dropbacks for Mac Jones in that game. You're not getting 58 here. Yeah, that was part of the reason why the target volume was so jacked up for.
And strength. I just don't know if like projecting him. I think we project him at like a 20% target share, not a 28% target share. So all these little things will add up to him being more of like a mid to high tight end 2, as opposed to last week, being a pretty solid tight end 1.
Yeah, it is Brian Thomas season though.
Heck yeah, baby. That's one call I got right this year. Thank God.
Man. We'll take it.
Yeah. All right.
Next. My turn. Never done this show before. Sorry. Falcons against the Giants. Giants have an implied total of 15.75 points. It's unimaginably low. Nevertheless, they persist. The Giants are allowing almost 5 sacks per game since week 7, so we could have a sack-based floor.
So wait, we still have more tight ends to talk about. Yeah?
Oh, I'm so sorry. God, I just completely...
You have Stone Smart with 2 T's.
Okay. Well, I got my defense out of the way.
Yeah, you got the defense. One of the 2 defenses.
Stone Smart with 2 T's, not 3, not 5. He ran it last week against the Bucks. He ran a route on 26 of 36 dropbacks for the Chargers, targeted on 23% of his routes. That's pretty good for a tight end, if I do say so. I will say this game, this Chargers Broncos game, is down from a total of 45 points to only 42. That kind of makes me think that it's not going to be the most beautiful fantasy environment, but I think you can get away with Stone Smart.
I gotta decide. I'm still alive in Scott Fishbowl right now, and I got to decide if I want to use Cortland Sutton and Ladd McConkey. Like if I'm gonna, and my alternatives are sort of like Tyrone Tracy type players. Kind of tough because I'm with you that like this game environment. Just looking at the data. Yeah, it doesn't look like amazing, and Justin Herbert's not playing as well. He's a little bit banged up too. I know. They can't get anything going offensively, and it's bad for a lot of the players there.
I gotta say, Justin Herbert should consider not getting hurt every single game.
Yes, it would be nice.
Just avoid a hit once in a while, Justin. It's not that hard.
I'm going to throw out as a deep play Ben Sinnott, who gets Philadelphia this week. Tough matchup, but we have seen Washington use Zach Ertz throughout the year. Entering last week, as we said, Zach Ertz had a 20% target share in 4 straight games. I think Ertz is good. I don't think he's like a special tight end or anything like that. He got concussed. He's likely not going to play this week because of the concussion. Because that's just what we generally see with concussions these days. And so Ben Sinnott stepped in, rookie Ben Sinnott, and he saw 25 routes run versus John Bates's 10. So there's a pretty big delta there between the two. The problem with Sinnott, Denny, is like in limited action, he's been pretty horrific this year.
I know.
His yards per route run is 0.28.
That's actually not possible. How?
28 yards on 100 routes run.
What a terrible draft pick.
Yeah, just horrible. I feel good about the tight end. My tight end model had him at a score of like 83 or something like that, but people were like very, very high on Ben Sinnott. And so I'm glad that the tight end model looks like it got that at least relatively, because it didn't see a big difference between like Sinnott and Theo Johnson, for instance, the tight end model. And I would, at this point, we have to take Theo Johnson and like dynasty over Ben Sinnott.
You take literally anyone.
Yeah. Sinnott's been rough, but I say this because, there's deeper leagues out there. Maybe you're even in like a 2 tight end. I'm in a 2 tight end semifinal, for instance. I might try to just pick them up and see what happens. But like people saw the talent in Sinnott, and it's still a relatively small sample that we're working off of. So you never know.
Yeah. I guess you use him over like the Carolina tight ends
I think you take it. Yeah, you roll the dice on like some of those just complete and utter dart throw tight ends, like a Jatavian Sanders or something like that, just because they split time. There's a lot of like I think Sinnott is probably going to see, like, if you were to predict his route share, what would you say? Like 70-75% probably this week.
I'd be surprised if it were lower than that.
Yeah. And so like it's not like a Grant Calcaterra situation as much where he's going to see a 90%, but they're not going to throw the ball that much. It's not right. Washington could see a negative game script, throw the ball more than expected. That game could just be really, really run heavy and ugly, though. I mean, my God, that's going to be those are two of the most run heavy teams in football. Like, it's going to be obnoxious.
I have to start Jaden Daniels in Apex, and I'm not happy about it.
We're both in the Apex semis, Denny.
Yeah, I saw that. Good luck to you. Of course, I mean, please don't face me in the championship.
I don't know. You'd probably rather play my team than Bloom. Sigmund Bloom. I'm facing Bloom. He has the Burrow Chase stack with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared. I am scared of it. Yeah, so please win, actually.
Yeah, you'd rather play.
I mean, I don't even know how I'm there. I literally don't have any good players.
Yeah, I mean, my team's okay. I have Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall though, so I'm struggling at running back right now.
I have Justin Jefferson. That's it. I have DK Metcalf. I mean, I haven't even started him lately. Like, I have Travis Kelce. I mean, I would have been doing better with Noah Gray over the past month.
Yeah. I have Josh Allen, which is all I need. That's why I got in the playoffs and why I won this past week.
Yeah. Speaking of that Eagles Commanders game, that is going to be such a low volume game. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Nobody's getting home.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about and AJ Brown's banged up now. I don't even we don't know if he's going to go or not. Sounds like I'd probably lean yes, but regardless, it's like where do I was trying to rank wide receivers earlier, trying to get ahead of with my rankings and stuff. Terry McLaurin, like, is he even a top 15 guy this week?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you're talking about 30 dropbacks for Jaden Daniels, maybe like 22 throws. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so what? Terry McLaurin's going to see 6 targets. He better do something with them, or he's going to be outside of the top 20.
I know, but you're going to feel like garbage if you bench like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah. In 12-team leagues, I don't think you have a choice. You have to play McLaurin.
Yeah. But yeah, that game environment's not fun. All right, you already talked about the Falcons, so I'll talk about the Colts. Look, Mason Rudolph sounds like he's going to go and start this week, but I don't really care. I think it's a bad situation regardless. In his two of his 3 starts, opposing defenses were top 7 against the Titans. The Titans are the best team for opposing defenses by adjusted points allowed. The Colts are fine. They're pretty average, but I think this is a good spot for them.
Yeah.
And then we got Cincy and Cleveland still too.
I have the Bengals against the Browns. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is starting for the Browns. DTR has a 5.2% rate of turnover-worthy plays per PFF over his 161 NFL dropbacks. That's pretty high. It's actually higher than Jameis Winston this season, which is curious. The Browns are 7.5-point dogs, so you would expect plenty of dropbacks here and opportunities for sacks and interceptions, and that's what we're looking for.
I think the one thing that's going to keep the pass catchers relevant for Cleveland this week is the fact that they're facing Cincinnati.
Maybe
they have to. They can't lean on the run in this environment in this game, unless Cincinnati just lays an egg offensively. But Joe Burrow's playing better football than anyone not named Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson right now.
But like DTR can't deliver a throw to the boundary.
We'll see. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, if there's a game where the pass catchers could be relevant, it's going to be a game against Cincinnati.
Yeah, right. It's a great spot. Oh, if Jameis were starting. Oh.
If Jameis were starting, this game would score. There'd be 60 points in this
game.
I
mean, the over-under would be 55 or something.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Anyway, to recap, we got the Colts, Falcons, Bengals. We got Ben Sinnott, Brenton Strange, Stone Smart. Mike, these people sound made up.
I know. It sounds like a random online name generator.
Yeah. Brenton Strange, Ben Sinnott, and Stone Smart.
Sure. Those are real people. Okay.
Cooper Rush. Aaron Rodgers is the only one that sounds normal in this whole entire podcast. And he's the least normal person in the group.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get to the questions. We got some on both Twitter and Blue Sky. First question is from @NotCommiesk. It says, when getting dressed, Do you go sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe? I recently became sock, shoe convert because it feels more efficient, but my wife immediately left me.
Yeah, I mean, she should have.
Yeah, we've discussed this on the show in the past, I believe, probably multiple times, but that is psychopath behavior is sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
Yeah, I don't understand it. First of all, what if there's a fire and you just have the one sock and one shoe on?
Sure.
And you got to go with one bare foot, one shoe. You're going to be tripping all over yourself. You're putting your life in danger. I mean, this is what no one talks about with the sock,
That's right.
shoe, sock, shoe.
I will say I'm a little bit worried about CJ, my son, because in the car, he refuses to not take off both his sock and his shoe on one foot.
Oh, just the one foot?
Just the one foot. Every time I get to daycare or wherever we're going, then I got to spend 5 minutes just finding the sock that he threw somewhere in the car.
I mean, and you're down in there.
Oh, I mean, I'm down and I'm touching crumbs that I didn't know existed.
You're crawling around. It's disgusting. Yes. Oh man, I can see it in my mind's eye.
Yeah. Why is there an applesauce pouch sitting here? And,
right.
and yeah, why is this happening?
There's an applesauce pouch from 2021.
Yeah. Look, I remember being at the Fantasy Football Expo a couple years ago. I don't think you were in the car, but I drove. It's an infamous story at this point where we went from the stadium to the bar.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wasn't drinking, so I drove everyone. Okay. And when I say everyone, I mean like 10 fantasy analysts were sitting. It was like Harmon,
really,
Reeves. We had Debro. There were Daigle was obnoxious in the back. I hope he's listening right now. Hope we randomly see the Daigle pop into the YouTube chat.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was, and Daigle is giving me the hardest time because the car I was driving it's my wife's SUV that we drove from Charlotte to Pittsburgh. And then I took a trip from Pittsburgh to Canton for the expo and then went back to Pittsburgh because my sister-in-law was getting married. And the car, we had just gone up from we had an 8-month-old and Avery had just turned 5. And we're like, of course it's a disaster in the car. We took a 7-hour trip from Charlotte to Pittsburgh. And Daigle's giving me this hard time about how messy the car is. I'm like, dude, stop.
Yeah, you don't even know. I mean, a car is apocalyptic by the end of a family road trip.
No, it's horrible. Yeah.
But, I mean, you have trash literally like piled up.
You contemplate just trashing the car after a road trip.
That's right. And actually, one time when we went to North Carolina for vacation, I clear out the car. I go check for something in the car hours later, and there are maggots in the back seat because somebody left their McDonald's to just sit there in the heat. Oh. And I had to freaking clean out maggots. I actually considered burning the car.
That's what I would have done. Just burn the car and say, thanks, patrons, and get in the car.
We're going to need more. Yeah. I mean, that was horrible.
That is rough. It's also really bad whenever you like if CJ or when Avery was little would have a bottle of milk in the car and you not realize that they had left the bottle in the car. That stinks fast. That stinks fast.
Yeah. Milk.
Yeah. Anyway, next question. At Arnie M. Bluford, it says, what are you looking forward to most in the holiday season? I'm guessing for Denny, it's listening to Foghat and watching Eyes Wide Shut. I know you so well. Your Foghat take might honestly be the worst one you've ever had on the show, ever.
I'm actually
because I'm a big Christmas music guy, and that's just one of the most obscene things that anyone said on the show. And by anyone, I mean me and you, and once a year, Tom Everscott.
So wait. What did I say? I said it's the best Christmas song.
Yeah, like that one Foghat song.
Yeah, right. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Foghat.
That's the most just absurd. It's insane. It's insane.
I love it. Every time I share it online, I get like 3 dudes who are like, "Bro, this is the greatest song ever." So you're wrong, man.
I'm definitely not wrong. I'm a Christmas song snob. I have late round Christmas on Spotify that people can listen to.
So I have it on iTunes if folks want it. But anyway, real quick story. My mother-in-law had her big Christmas party on Saturday, right? And someone had taken over the speakers and was playing like Pearl Jam and like early 90s stuff at this Christmas party. And I knew that eventually was going to make people mad, like as people were filing into the party. So I was like, I got to take over. So I took over. I co-opted the speakers, and I finally got to flex my Christmas playlist for like, dozens of people, right?
Yeah.
I was so excited, right? And I got to play Foghat, and some people were into it. And then Lou Rawls' Christmas, okay? And then I had to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. I'm all excited to get back, and someone had taken over from me when I got back, and they were playing club music.
Oh
This
my
is what
gosh!
happens. This is what happens, JJ, when parents have 2 drinks and then forget about the Christmas music. We're playing early 2000s club music.
It's true. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you got like Nelly playing, and everyone's
yes, exactly, or like Daft Punk. I'm like, oh, come on, man! I just had it rolling. This was my moment.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from @zipcode. It says, "Oh wait, we didn't even answer the question. What are you looking forward to most in the holiday season?"
Oh, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, being done with fantasy football.
But you're not.
Well, I mean, you're mostly done. Like you're Denny. I this is my last week of full content. Next week I'm just doing 15 transactions, and then by the way, folks, we're gonna do Living the Stream next Friday because next Tuesday is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yes.
So we'll do Living the Stream on Friday. Denny, I'm only doing 15 transactions next week, and then I'm done.
I mean, good for you. I'm not. I hate it, but like Roger Goodell made it so that
you got to cover the
keep working for the holidays.
Yeah. Do you have to do a Christmas shift, like work one of the games?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm too old for that.
That's
yeah. What am I looking forward to? Watching Scrooged with my family.
That's good. That's a good one. Yeah. I'm just looking forward to, I was talking to you about this a little bit before we started the show. I'm just looking forward to like not having to tilt anymore. I've had a very tilting experience in fantasy, not because my teams were really bad, but because things like in one of I'm in a neighborhood league, my old neighborhood, and I got the 3 seed in the playoffs, but there were 2 divisions and I was better than the top team in the other division that got a bye. I had more wins, but I didn't get the bye because I wasn't in that division. So it's literally, it didn't why? And then of course, this past week, I'm playing a game where I have Jonathan Taylor. I lose 8 points because he's an idiot. Okay. And then I have Kyler and I'm facing James Conner. Do you know what it's like to watch James Conner do that when you have his quarterback? Not only that, but I'm sitting there and Kyler is forcing the issue to Trey McBride to finally get him a touchdown. And at the 1, and then they don't get it, and then James Conner scores. And because of those things, I lose that game, and I would have had the bye. Stuff like that is going on with me this year, and I'm not in enough leagues because I didn't play in as many season long because of my best ball experiment. Now that I have a grasp on best ball, I am going to play so much fantasy football in 2025. It's going to make people want to vomit.
Except for if they follow you for those purposes. I covered that Colts Broncos game. Obviously I saw the touchdown.
Yeah.
I did not even think twice about whether it was a touchdown. Like I didn't understand they stopped the extra point because they were like, we're doing a video review. I was like, of what? Like, he easily scored a touchdown. Like no one touched him. And so that was a great catch by somebody because I didn't even notice.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been, I've been having a lot of thought as to like how I should approach next season. Do I say, oh, I'm just going to play fewer season long leagues and just kind of be like, okay, this is how it goes with these season long leagues and like really lean into and keep doing the best ball stuff? Or, season long is my bread and butter. Season long is my baby. This is the thing that I know that I'm good at, that I can win pretty consistently year in and year out. I probably just need to like double up the amount of leagues that I'm in now into next year.
Gosh, really?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
That's wow. You are gonna be.
I just feel like it's gonna make me feel better to not have the stupid variance that happens in some of these leagues happen. Because so much of the playoffs, it's just what it is. And if I got to practice what I preach, where I say, if you're tilted by it, which I am at this point, you gotta join more leagues. You gotta even it out.
You have no choice but to join 37 leagues.
That's right. There's and look, if I can, I have a system down where I can get stuff, done. By the end of the year, it makes it a little tough to do waivers and stuff. But.
Yeah. Do you have like an algorithm that does waivers?
No, I just go through. I have all the leagues bookmarked in Chrome, and I just go one by one through every league. And then though that certain platforms have waivers on certain days, so I'm not touching my MFL leagues until Wednesday night, about an hour or two before waivers run. But like the bigger platforms, like in FFPC, same deal. FFPC is on Wednesday, but then the bigger platforms like ESPN and Yahoo, the default is and Sleeper too, for the most part, the default's Tuesday to Wednesday. So it's just a manage, you just gotta know.
That's tough. Diego Lopez is in the chat, says, have you ever fallen asleep with your phone in your hand because you forgot to set waivers? Now, Diego, that is a dad move. That's
definitely a
I would say I have not done that. But I set my waivers on my laptop like an adult. So
there are some leagues where I like, and also it's a lot easier, I found, to set waivers if you do. I'm in some leagues that have like waiver priority as opposed to free agent budget. Way easier there because you can be like, I'm just gonna skip waivers this week because I'll get them in the morning whenever everything runs, because I don't want to lose my waiver priority. But yeah, I think next year is gonna be a very, very heavy season long year, because I thought I was gonna be in over my head with best ball, but I've realized that like the sweat of best ball is just different. And the management, obviously, it's all in May to August, where I'm gonna do some of those big board drafts that are in the winter and stuff. But like, it's just it's perfect. You can do it year round, and then I can just focus on season long more heavily, in August and moving forward. So
easy.
Yeah, I'll join some more public leagues. It'll be be better than the mass amount of analyst leagues that we're in.
I gotta stop doing those. I gotta stop doing all those leagues. Like it's actually exhausting. Like never having, never playing in like a normie league.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing too, man, is that I've been thinking like I really want to join more normie leagues because I think it's going to help me with the advice that I give.
I totally agree. I think
that's part of this.
My advice used to be better when I played against my friends and family.
Yeah, because you just have a better grasp on like what's available, what's not. And I played in some that are kind of like that, but like then they're 14, they're with more casual managers, but they're like 14 team leagues. So it's not, what's available still isn't as like what people are experiencing with 10 and 12. And so, yeah, I mean, that's part of it too, is that like 80 to 90% of my leagues are now analyst leagues. And I think I play pretty well in them, like I'm not a bad player. It's just that like it gets a little stale and you want to, it's a little bit frustrating because of that.
Absolutely.
Anyway. All right. Zip code says, is football on Christmas good? We've had games 6 of the last 9 years, which is nice, but it always feels weird to me.
I hate it.
It's terrible.
It's the worst thing ever. Yeah. Like let's be real about it. Like it completely ruins Christmas.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It takes you away from your family. It creates a distraction.
You tilt because of fantasy football, and you're tilting on Christmas.
And also you have FOMO. I mean, I tried last Christmas. I actually decided that I was just not gonna care. Like I'm not like grinding these stupid games on Christmas.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm gonna just like kind of look real quick and kind of be done with it. But it's different than Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is more of like a lazy hangout holiday. Christmas is a more active one.
It is where you're doing things. You're going different places, perhaps.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff to do. Again, the fact that the NFL has this burning desire to monopolize every moment of your life.
Yeah.
Is just infuriating.
It is very annoying. Next question, at I am Groot 2001. I don't know that I've ever heard the origin story of how the Living the Stream podcast came to be. Can you tell us the story?
It's not that interesting.
It's not. Denny, I think we've told it before, but Denny was, it might even be on the livethestreamff.com. Denny was covering a conference in Jersey, right? It was in Jersey.
Yeah.
And that's where I found him and realized that he was a person, because he was talking about like Michael Vick or something like that. And I wanted to start a podcast. I was like 23 years old, 24 years old. And I was like, I want to start something, but I need a co-host.
Yeah.
Started following Denny, and we both were into the idea of streaming just in general. Cause I think you were writing columns on it and stuff. And
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Tight ends and defenses. Yeah.
Yeah. So you writing columns about it, and me having just published the late round quarterback ebook, it made sense to kind of like join forces. And we started the show. It was Xavier, right when Xavier was born.
It was this time of year. Xavier's birthday is today, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday, Xavier.
Yeah. He's 12 years old.
Yeah. So this podcast about 12 years ago was born as well.
That's absolutely right. A long time. But yeah, that's how, I mean, this is in the infancy of fantasy football Twitter. Where it was very few people posting about fantasy stuff, and it was very normie at the time, like no advanced stuff, you know. We were just like, hey, this guy, he looks good. What are you gonna do? You're gonna not draft him?
Yeah, we didn't even have an intro. For the first 5 to 10 episodes, I just took random 90s theme songs from sitcoms and I made them the intro to the show. But that's what podcasting was back then, because like no one knew what they were doing. They were just throwing some noises together.
Oh, and by the way, not everybody had Howard Stern's audio setup.
Yeah, right.
Back then. I had a little mic like that I held in my hand called the People's Mic.
That's right.
I think did you use a microphone, or did you just speak to your laptop?
I might have had a Yeti.
You had a Yeti.
Okay. But then the more I've learned about microphones, I'm like, that's not even the right kind of, like, everyone who starts a podcast are always like, I gotta, like, they've branded themselves so well, but it's not even necessarily the right microphone to get.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that's how it started. And I think that like, if I were to go back, I can't go back and listen to those episodes because it is embarrassing how bad I am in front of a microphone.
I used to be very nervous because I made the mistake of thinking anybody was listening when we actually did not have much of a listenership for a while there.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. All right. Next question is from @Charles_Sword. It says, if you could change the ending of any Christmas movie, what would it be? Mine would be that a nuclear bomb would go off in Jingle All the Way, and it would just kill everyone in that movie.
Which one is that?
That's the stupid Arnold Schwarzenegger one that I talked about last week.
Oh yeah.
It's so bad. Like, in hindsight, it's like, I get it. People are like, oh, you should watch it again. I watched it last year with my daughter. One of the worst things I've ever watched in my entire life.
You know, I mean, I can't imagine being one of these people who like hears that so and so hates this movie. Well, you should simply watch it again. You know, you haven't watched a good Jingle All the Way or whatever.
Right. Like, I've seen that movie literally 7 or 8 times probably in my life.
One. Like, I'm not gonna like it. Stop pretending like there's a formula in which I will end up liking this movie. I'm not going to.
The bottom line, that like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that kind of role, like, he's just not good. Okay, like Kindergarten Cop, he kind of had some fun and intrigue in that role. But yeah, like also one of my favorite like analogies and not analogy, but comparisons to make when Avery was little, every time she would put a ponytail in her hair, she looked like the villain in Kindergarten Cop. You remember how? Do you remember how he had that weird lower ponytail, like that
very low ponytail?
Yeah, every time her hair would end up like that. She just looked like the guy from Kindergarten Cop.
I think that guy's name in the credits, or somebody's name in that, was Michael M. Michaels. I'll never forget that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that movie was a little intense for me as a kid because the crime aspect, there were people being shot.
It was intense.
It was an intense movie.
Yeah, it was intense. There was a lot. And you're dealing with children. There's a fire in the school. I mean, yeah.
And there were actual stakes in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
a pretty high stakes kids movie.
Yeah, like pretty big stuff going on for a 6-year-old to watch.
So what was the question?
What movie would you end
differently?
Oh yeah, Phil Hartman is in Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah,
I should say. So that's
what movie would I end differently? I'm sorry, I don't have one. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, this is from Number One Punna on Blue Sky. Did you know that this is Jason? Did you know that he's been tracking who has gotten their question asked the most this season?
Yeah, he has the analytics on it. Yeah.
And right now, Steak Knife Ob is in first with 10. We've answered 123 questions so far this season.
It's pretty good.
And so Jason's asking what should be an appropriate gift for the winner. I don't know. Maybe we'll follow them on social media platforms.
Yeah, sure. Do we have any Living the Stream merch? I feel like we used
We
to.
don't. If someone wants to, maybe I'll get up. Maybe when David Kitchen starts.
Yeah, we can have
next
a
month.
t-shirt.
Yeah, I now have a COO working with me and for me.
We used to have T-shirts. I remember Matt Harmon wore one on the set of NFL Network.
Yeah, and Tom Everett Scott wore one with Emma Stone.
That's right.
Because one of the greatest moments in Living the Stream history ever was that Tom was doing La La Land with Emma Stone.
Oh my
and
gosh.
they were just hanging out on set or whatever, and he got a picture with her, and he's wearing the Living the Stream t-shirt with Emma Stone, and the nerds of Living the Stream were all like, Emma Stone's touching the Living the Stream t-shirt.
God.
Like easily the greatest moment of Living the Stream ever.
A bunch of sweaty fantasy football nerds were like, oh, Emma Stone knows about Living the Stream. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right after that, I'm sure Tom and Emma talked about streaming tight ends.
I'm sure they talked about Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, back then, Charles Clay probably.
Charles Clay. Yeah, I do remember being psyched when Matt Harmon, who used to work for NFL Network, and he actually went like on set and he has Living the Stream t-shirt, and I remember I was at a restaurant or something. I was not home, and I looked up at the TV, and I was like, and I told my wife, like, oh, I know that guy. Oh my God, he's wearing Living the Stream t-shirt.
Yeah, we need to get back on that. I'll work on that this offseason. Next question's Taylor. Taylor is thanking me for getting him into Batro, which, Denny, you should play Batro. Download it on your phone.
What's that? What's it?
Batro is a game. It's poker with like power-ups and stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's very, very good. It got nominated for Game of the Year, and it's this very basic game, but you can play it on your phone. You can play it on Switch. You can play it on all the... You should... So, like Tyler says, games on phone is a no-no. I get it, but Batro's different. It's
why is it a no-no?
Probably just from an addiction standpoint, I would assume.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I should probably save myself from and not.
Yeah,
like I don't know if I can control that one.
Yeah,
if I really like it.
Next question is from Kevin. Kevin Banks on Blue Sky. Who's been your favorite player in fantasy this year? Meaning, who has been the most fun for you to have on your teams? For me, it's been Brian Thomas Jr. That's what he said.
I bet.
Probably Brian Thomas.
For a while, it was Malik Neighbors, but I guess that's not really.
Neighbors was good last week.
I know, but I mean, it was really fun in the first few weeks.
It was very fun. Yeah,
20 targets or whatever. Like,
I've really enjoyed because over the last couple of years, I haven't faded early round quarterbacks, and I have a decent amount of Josh Allen this year, and that has been a blast.
Oh, that's been a blast. Tremendous. Here's a low key fun guy to have throughout the season, Chuba Hubbard.
Oh yeah,
just plug him in and like, he scored 18 points. Cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tyrone Tracy's been really fun for me just because I was in on him, and like as a prospect, I called him out early, like literally 2 weeks before he took over the backfield. I called it out on my mailbag show. And so like when that kind of stuff can happen, it's great. Chase Brown's another great one because Chase Brown is probably my second or third highest rostered player in season long.
That's actually, thank you, Jaquan in the chat. Chase Brown, that's my answer because I have him on a few teams, and that has been just thrilling to be able to be like, like RB1, easy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Next question. This is from the last one this week is going to be from Steak Knife Ob, so he gets his 11th question of the year.
Oh wow, okay, the analytics, okay.
Favorite and least favorite board game to play. Look, Steak Knife Ob, he comes with a fire. This is a fire question, like a very thoughtful question.
You know what it is?
Let Steak Knife Ob cook, baby.
He opens up. He gives a wide berth for us to progress through, right? So nothing is restricted in Steak Knives questions.
That's right. That's right. A lot of people only think like football or like along the lines of no. Steak Knife Ob is like we're talking board games tonight. Yeah.
Okay, so you have answers here.
A favorite and least favorite. My least favorite would probably just be Monopoly because it takes forever.
It does take too long. I don't know if it's my favorite. I do like Monopoly though.
My favorite is Risk.
I've never played.
Oh, Risk is great. Risk or there's a game called Diplomacy that's really good, but that's more that's more you need like a pretty like hardcore group of people to play. Risk is amazing though.
Sounds political.
Yeah, it's a little political.
I've had a really good time playing Battleship with my kids.
Oh, Battleship's great. I also like some of the classics. Like I love like Connect 4. Like with that kind of board game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Connect 4 has got to be. I think I'm probably like a 90th percentile Connect 4 player.
You need to be in more Connect 4 leagues.
Yeah, I really need to be more. I hate the variants of Connect 4. I need to join more Connect 4 leagues.
I bet you would kick my butt in Connect 4. I bet I would just be humiliated. Yeah, because you're a thinker. You're like very strategic, and I'd be like, huh, that spot's open. Boop.
Connect 4 is fun. Yeah.
Battleship is fun because you can get crazy with your ship placement.
Yeah.
Like you can really like, especially I actually looked up like the analytics of the most common guesses. So once you have that information, you avoid those spots and people are flailing if you put them in the right spot.
I also remember a Battleship commercial from the 90s. You'll be shocked to hear.
I'm done.
And at the very end of the commercial, there's like a robot voice kind of, it's like Battleship sunk. And then you remember how and maybe it's still the case. It kind of is still the case, but every like board game or kids commercial had to have some sort of like exclamation at the end, right? So it goes Battleship sunk, and then the kid at the end goes, "Yeah, now we're talking."
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Someone's
that you remember that.
Someone's gonna find that.
Oh man. I was watching a compilation of 80s Christmas commercials the other day. I'm not proud of it, okay? I'm not proud. But they had one where they were like basically like it was like a hunger suppressant pill for women. It was like this time of year, like the temptations are everywhere. And if you want to stay trim, take our pill. And I was like, what?
Well, what's interesting is the same thing is happening, but Big Pharma just owns it.
And now people are dancing. They're doing coordinated dances on my TV 15 hours a day.
Right.
About the pill.
Yeah. Fry says alternate life. You JJ could have been that child actor because that was scary accurate. Does that mean someone looked it up and actually? So Charles said there were two versions of Battleship. The rich kids got the electronic version.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, there was a Battleship sunk. Yeah, now we're talking. I want to see if people can find that.
Man, that's good.
I'm actually gonna look it up after this.
Tyler says breaking news: Raheem Morris declines to name a starting quarterback.
Good. Let's get Michael Penix in there.
Yes, please. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Let's get out of here, Denny.
Okay.
It's been too long. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find all my work at RotoWorld. I am on the Blue Sky machine.
I'm on Twitter at LateRoundQB. I'm on Blue Sky. Exact same handle. Do you call them handles on Blue Sky? Is that what it is? Yeah. Check all my stuff out on lateround.com. Denny, we will not be back on Tuesday next week. As we said before, we'll be back on Friday. So there will be some games that I've already played. We'll probably post our picks still to the Patreon.
Yeah. They'll be up.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next week.
Thank you for listening to Living the Stream. We hope you enjoyed the internet podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes now. It won't take long, it's fast. For more fantasy football info, check out
LateRound.com and NBC Sports Edge.
Hope you come back soon as we share about the team.